Dear students, welcome to our sixth lecture of unit number 3, that is solubilization and detergency, and it is the 30th lecture of whole course. Okay. So, first of all, what is solubilization? See, solubilization can be defined as the preparation of a thermodynamically stable isotropic solvent of a substance normally insoluble or very slightly soluble in a given solvent by the addition of component or components by any suitable methods. Okay. So, what is the process solubilization? Solubilization is a technique or it is a method that involves the preparation of a thermodynamically stable isotropic solutions. Now, what do you mean by isotropic solution? A solution which is formed and where the physical properties are uniform throughout the process. So, it is a isotropic solution. So, what is solubilization? It is a technique to form or to prepare a isotropic solution of substance that are normally insoluble or very slightly soluble in a given solvent by the addition of another component or by the addition or by implementation of any suitable methods. Okay. Next is the process of solubilization. See, there are different processes that are involved in the solubilization process, and these are: first is breaking of interionic or intermolecular bonds in the solute. Second one is separation of solute molecules to provide space for the solute. Third process is interaction between the solvents and the solute molecule or ion. Fourth one is molecules of solids break away from bulk. Next is separation of solvent molecules, and last one is freed solid molecules is integrated into the wholes of the solvent molecule. Okay. In the previous slide, I have told you what is solubilization. Means it is the technique to solubilize a insoluble substance or to solubilize a slightly soluble substance by the addition of any solvent or by the addition of any co-solvent or by the addition of any components or mixture of components or by any suitable methods. Okay. So, this process of solubilization involves various processes, and first is the breaking of interionic or intermolecular bonds in the solute. See, when we are studying the solubilization, in the solubilization certain solute is going to be mixed in the solvent. Certain solid or solute is going to be mixed in the solvent, and for this there should be breaking of interionic or intermolecular bonds in the solute. Only then solubilization can occur. Second is separation of solute molecules to provide the space for the solute. Okay. This is the solute molecule. Okay. When we are trying to solubilize this solid molecule in certain solvent, then we have to separate this solid molecule or these solute molecules, so that solvent molecule can so that there should be enough space for the solvent molecule to penetrate into it. Okay. Third is interaction between the solvent and solute molecule or ions. Fourth is molecules of solids break away from the bulk. Next is separation of solvent molecules, and last one is freed solid molecules is integrated into the wholes of solvent molecule. See, this is the solvent molecule. Okay. In this case, this solid molecule, freed particle of solid molecule will move into the holes that is created into the solvent molecules. Okay. So, these are the various processes of solubilization. Okay. Next is solubilization technique. How we are achieving this solubilization process. So, co-solvency is a technique that that is involved in solubilization. What is co-solvency? See, in the co-solvency, we are solubilizing a substance, or we are enhancing the solubility of a substance by the addition of certain other component, and that other component or that other solvent is known as the co-solvent, and the process or phenomena is known as the co-solvency. Okay. So, what is co-solvency? In case of co-solvency process, there are certain substances like weak electrolytes and non-polar molecules that are poorly soluble in water, and the solubility of these weak electrolytes or these non-polar molecules can only be increased by the addition of certain water miscible solvents in which the drug has good solubility. Okay. So, this process of improving or this process of enhancing the solubility is called as the co-solvency, and the solvents that are used known as the co-solvents. Okay. What are the co-solvents? And when the co-solvents are needed in case of weak electrolytes. Okay. Substances such as weak electrolytes and non-polar molecules. Why there is need of co-solvency? Because these are poorly soluble in water. Okay. And the solubility can only be enhanced by using certain water miscible solvents in which the drug has good solubility. Okay. And the process of improving or increasing or enhancing the solubility of these weak electrolytes and non-polar molecules is called as co-solvency. Okay. And the solvents that are used to enhance the solubility of weak electrolytes are known as the co-solvents. Okay. See, the co-solvency technique is mainly used in the formulation of parenterals. Okay, because in case of parenterals we need complete solubilization. There should not be any single particle left which is not solubilized in the vehicle or in the solvent. Okay. So, this co-solvency is mainly used in the formulation of parenterals. Okay. There are certain co-solvents that are commonly used. These are ethanol, sorbitol, glycerine, polyethylene glycol PEG, propylene glycol, etc. Okay. And the solubilizing effect by co-solvency is depending on the polarity of the drug with respect to the solvent and co-solvent. Okay. Solvent is the main vehicle and co-solvent is the solvent that is added to increase the solubility of the substances that are poorly soluble or that are insoluble. Okay. So, the solubilizing effect by the co-solvency is dependent on the polarity of the drug with respect to the solvent as well as to the co-solvent. Okay. That means, more non-polar the solute, the greater is the solubilization achieved by the added solvents or co-solvents. Okay. Next concept is detergency. What is detergency? See, what are the detergents? Detergents are the type of surfactants. So, these detergents are the surfactants that are used for removal of dirt from substrates such as glass, fabric, skin, etc. Okay. And the effective detergents are required for the cleaning of production equipment, containers for packing, and also in order to maintain the hygiene in the industry. Okay. So, I have told you that detergents are surfactant, and what are surfactants? Surfactants are the surface active agents, and these are also known as the amphiphils. These are also known as the amphiphils. Okay. What do you mean by amphiphils? Amphiphil means these contain hydrophilic head and hydrophobic tail. Okay. This consists of hydrophilic head and lipophilic tail or hydrophobic tail. Okay. Basically, this is the structure of a surfactant which contain hydrophilic head. This is the hydrophilic head and this is the lipophilic tail or hydrophobic tail. Okay. So, a surfactant molecule consists of both hydrophilic head as well as lipophilic tail. So, it is known as the amphiphils. Here is the mechanism by which surfactants acts or by which detergency process occurs. In this, in the diagram, I am showing you how surfactant removes the dirt from the surface and makes the surface clean. Okay. In this, the molecule inserts their hydrophobic tail inside the dirt, inside the fat, sorry. Okay. There is fatty substance present. Okay. The hydrophobic tail will be inserted into the fat and the polar and hydrophilic head carry the dirt in the water. Okay. And the agitation of the fluid make the process easier. Okay. In the process of detergency, the soluble substances are converted into solution. Okay. Some substances are deflocculated and they are converted into suspension, and some oil soluble substances are converted into the emulsion, and after this they all are removed in the form of foam. Okay. And a cleaned surface will be obtained. Okay. So, in the detergency process, it is a complex process that involves number of steps. Okay. A number of steps are simultaneously involved in the detergency process, and these are: first is initial wetting of the dirt from the surface, second one is solubilizing of the dirt, third one is removing the insoluble dirt as deflocculation particles, fourth one is suspending the particles in the detergent solution, fifth one is removing the oil soluble material and convert into emulsion, and in the last converting the dirt into foam so as to wash easily. Okay. So, I am showing you how the detergency process occur, how the detergency phenomena takes place. Okay. In case of detergency, there is dirt. When we are adding certain detergents or surfactant, these are having the HLB value from 13 to 16. Okay. These detergents have HLB value 13 to 16, and when these detergents are added into the solution, there will be, first step is initial wetting. Initial wetting of surface. Okay. After the initial wetting, there are 3 steps. In the first, the dirt is solubilized into the solution. Dirt is solubilized in solution. In the second step, the insoluble dirt is precipitated as deflocculated particle. Insoluble material is deflocculated, is precipitated as deflocculated particles and form suspension. Okay. And in the third step, the oil substances or the oil soluble substances will be converted into the emulsion. Substances converted into emulsion. Okay. And after these 3 processes, there will be formation of foam, and in the foam the dirt is easily washed away and a cleaned surface is obtained. Okay. This is the phenomena of detergency. Okay. So, in the detergency there are number of steps involved, and what are these? First is initial wetting of the dirt from the surface, second is solubilizing of the dirt or soluble matter is getting dissolved in the vehicle and form a solution. Next is insoluble material is removed in the form of deflocculated particle and that will form a suspension. Third is the oil soluble particles are converted into the emulsion, and these 3 materials are removed in the form of a foam, FOAM form. Okay. And after, and when we remove this, when this dirt is converted into the foam, then it can be easily washed and we can obtain a clean surface. Okay. So, this is the phenomena of detergency. Okay. Now, comes to the electrical properties of the interface. This is the very important topic of this unit. So, electrical properties of interface. See, the study of electrical properties of interface has certain application in the formulation of dosage form, regarding the stabilization of colloidal dispersions, regarding the preparation of flocculated suspensions, and also regarding the stabilization of emulsions. Okay. See, when solids are dispersed in the liquids, a larger solid or liquid interface is obtained. See, there is a liquid, and when we are incorporating certain solid substance into the liquid, or when solid is dispersed in a liquid, a larger solid liquid interface, okay, a interface that exists between the solid and the liquid molecule is obtained, that may become charged, and the origin of this charge on the surface can be due to the various reasons, and these reasons include presence of electrolyte. Sometimes when we are dispersing a solid into the liquid, certain electrolytes can be present in the solution, and these electrolytes may get adsorbed on the solid surface. Okay. See, as shown in this diagram, when solid are dispersed into the liquid, there can be presence of certain electrolytes, and these electrolytes can adsorbed on the interface as shown in the diagram. See, on the AA dash there is accumulation or there is adsorption of cations on the AA dash, that is solid liquid interface. Okay. if the electrolytes are not present, if ions are absent, in that case vehicle, that is water, can also dissociate to form the hydronium ion, that is H3O positive or hydroxyl ion. Okay. In that case hydronium ion or hydroxyl ion can get absorbed. Okay. And adsorption of hydroxyl ion is most common because of the asymmetric nature of the hydroxyl ions. Okay. The second reason of origin of charge can be presence of functional group. There can be presence of functional groups on the surface of the particles and they get dissociated and impart a charge. For example, the carboxyl ion, for example, the amine group in the protein get ionized and impart a charge on the solid liquid interface. Third one is the difference in the difference in the dielectric constant between the particles and the dispersion medium. This is also responsible for the origin of the charge, but it is a less common source. Okay. So, what I am telling you, when a solid is dispersed into the liquid, then we obtain a solid liquid interface, and on that solid liquid interface there can be presence of charge, and thus this charge can be originated due to various reasons, and these reasons include, first is presence of electrolytes in the solution. If electrolytes are not present, in that case vehicle or water, aqueous vehicle, water can dissociate to form the hydronium ion or hydroxyl ion. See, two water molecules can dissociate to form the hydronium ion plus hydroxyl ion, and these ions can adsorbed on the solid liquid interface, that is AA positive. This is the solid liquid interface AA positive. In this diagram I am showing you the cations are adsorbed on the solid liquid interface, and this interface is known as AA dash. It is represented by AA dash. The second reason of origin of charge includes the presence of functional groups. These functional group can be carboxyl ion, or these can be amine groups that are present in the proteins and they get ionized. Third is there can be difference in the dielectric constant between the particles and the dispersion medium, that is responsible for the origin of charge. Okay. Now, see, the solid particles are dispersed in an aqueous solution containing an electrolyte, then there is formation of electrical double layer, and this electrical double layer consists of two things. First is tightly bound layer, second one is diffuse second layer. Okay. Electrical double layer consists of formation of tightly bound layer and second is diffuse second layer. Okay. AA dash is the solid liquid interface, BB dash is the shear plane. Okay. So, as I have told you that electrical double layer consists of tightly bound layer and diffuse second layer. Now, what is tightly bound layer? Tightly bound layer is present between the AA dash and BB dash. Okay. This AA dash and BB dash, the layer that is present between the AA dash and BB dash is known as the tightly bound layer, and in this layer there is accumulation of cations on the surface, and after some time these cations can attract certain anions and repel other molecules, but and in some cases there can be more anions present in this layer, but as a whole there is more number of cations. So, this layer acquires the positive charge. Okay. And these cations that are present on the solid liquid interface are known as the potential determining ions. Okay. And the counter ions that are present between BB dash and CC dash are known as the Giegen ions. Okay. See, the interface AA dash is the solid liquid interface, and cations are assumed to be present in the solution and they are adsorbed on the solid surface and impart a positive charge. So, these cations are known as the potential determining ion. Okay. Next is tightly bound layer that is immediately adjacent to the interface, and it is a region that extends up to the BB dash. Diffuse second layer is the bound by BB dash and CC dash, means the region that is present between the BB dash and CC dash is known as the diffuse second layer. Okay. In this diffuse second layer, there can be excess of negative ions are present, and these negative ions are also known as counter ions. Counter ions or Giegen ions. Okay. Now, there is involvement of two types of potential, and these potential are Nernst potential and zeta potential. Now, what is Nernst potential? Nernst potential is the potential of solid surface itself, that is AA dash, and it is because of the presence of potential determining ion. See, Nernst potential is the potential that is present at the AA dash, and this potential is due to the presence of potential determining ion or cations. Okay. So, this Nernst potential is represented by E and also known as the electrothermodynamic potential, and it is defined as the difference in the potential between the actual surface and the electroneutral region of the solution. See, in this diagram, AA dash to BB dash, this region acquires positive charge. BB dash to CC dash, this region acquires negative charge, and in this there is electroneutral region. Okay. So, the Nernst potential is the potential difference between the AA dash and BB dash. There is another potential, that is zeta potential. It is the difference that exists between the BB dash and the electroneutral region. Okay. So, zeta potential is observed at the shear plane, and what is shear plane? It is the BB dash line. Zeta potential is also known as the electrokinetic potential, and it is defined as the work required to bring a unit charge from infinity to the surface of the particle. Okay. This is the diagram that shows the zeta potential, and in this we are showing that zeta potential value gradually decreases towards the CC dash or electroneutral region, and this is due to the particle decrease in the particle attraction. Okay. Last is applications of zeta potential. See, zeta potential governs the degree of repulsion between the adjacent ion of like charges. So, it is used to predict the particle-particle interactions. Okay. Optimum zeta potential value is required for the stability of a formulation, and if the value of zeta potential falls below a particular value, then the attractive forces may exceed the repulsive forces, and if the attractive forces are more, then aggregation of particles can occur, and this phenomena is observed in the colloids. Okay. So, zeta potential decreases more rapidly when the concentration of electrolyte is increased or the valency of counter ions is higher. Okay. This is all about the solubilization, detergency and electrical properties of the interface. Okay. Thank you.